Welcome, Warrensburg Latham High School, to your virtual career. My name is Robert Muri. I live out in Shelton, Washington, and I just happen to be a cousin to your careers counselor. And she invited me to do a careers video for you in regards to welding as a career. Well, before we get started on that, sorry, I want to share with you a little bit about the trades in general. Now, I don't really know what your job opportunities are in Illinois, but out here we have shipping and we have food industry, and we have, you can work for the state, and there's a lot of different shops you can work in, boating industry, stuff like that, okay? So, that said, what I wanted to share with you to begin with is what we call soft skills. By the way, I'm also a welding teacher, and I'm not only a welding teacher, but I can sub-teach any subject here in the state of Washington. So, what I wanted to share with you real quick is about your soft skills. Your soft skills are stuff that we call showing up for work every day, calling in if you can't make it, calling in if you get stuck in traffic. I mean, everybody's got a cell phone, so there's really no reason not to call in. The biggest complaint that we hear from employers, and I'm sure you've heard this already from your teachers and your counselors, is people just not showing up for work. If you could show up for work every day, that's the biggest hurdle for everybody, just showing up. The other thing I wanted to share with you is that when you get older and you continuously miss on a Monday, your boss isn't that stupid, and he will know that maybe you just went out and partied a little bit too much on Sunday and can't make it in on Monday, and eventually that will catch up with you, and your boss will probably end up firing you. So that said, let's get on with some of the questions that you sent me to answer for you. Okay, so first thing is, one other thing I wanted to share with you is my email, which is right there. And let me zoom in a little bit so you can see it. Let's see. Okay, there you go. robertmuri@gmail.com. Last name is spelled M-U-E-R-I. Okay? All right. So, let me zoom back out here, and we'll get on with the show. Okay, there we go. By the way, I got a new camera just for the occasion. I also do some recording for other stuff, so it's kind of nice to have a camera rather than just a cell phone. All right, so first question, why did you choose this job? Well, the job sort of chose me. I wanted to be a photographer. My dad was a welder pipe fitter, and so he said, if you want to go to school to take welding, I'll pay for it, i.e. college. So I did, and I finished a year of college, and then I left and went to Seattle. I went to a school over in Eastern Washington, in a place called Pasco, Washington. They have one of the best welding schools on the West Coast out here. And I went there for a year, then I left. I went to Seattle and I worked in the shipyard for a while. And then I worked in various shops around the Seattle area. And then I ended up at a company called Leckenby Company, and we built a container line, which was kind of the forerunner of the ship container. You probably see those on TV, where they have the ship container stacked on top of the ship. Well, we built these for a company called Hussmann, which was actually a refrigeration company that have all the refrigeration units and refrigerator units in the grocery stores. So they wanted to have some basic ship containers built, so we built them. And that was about a 2-year job. Well, at the end of the 2 years, I was laid off for a while, and during that layoff, I went down and I joined the Army, and so that's where I went. I went in the Army after that. Anyway, okay, so how many years have you been working on the job? Well, I spent overall minus 3 or 4 years in the photography business and 3 years in the Army. I was a welder for about 30 years. And that includes doing some millwright maintenance work and production welding, shipyard welding, and those kinds of things. And then finally went on to become a teacher. So 30 years on the job, and do I plan on working in this job anymore? No, I don't work in the welding industry anymore. I do keep my certification current out here in Washington. In the event that I get a little job for myself or something of that nature, then the customer knows that I'm certified. Okay. Did you enjoy the job? For the most part, I did. The pay varies depending on where you live and what the job is, but you're going to typically make more than working in a restaurant, or which right now there isn't much work in restaurants. Construction obviously pays more. You know, if you can show up every day, do the job to the best of your ability, you probably have a job for a long time. Okay? Anyway, all right. So describe your typical day. Well, get out of bed, take a shower, eat breakfast, go to work, get there on time. Again, depending on what you're doing, you may have to set up your welder in an area that you're going to be working, like in the shipyard. It was just something different every day, so we always had to move all of our equipment around from one area to the other. So it's not just about welding, it's about setting up the welding equipment, making sure your gas is on, your equipment is ready to go, your welder's turned on, there's no leaks in the system, checking that's another thing you do. And so there's a lot of startup stuff that you need to do when you go out for your first day, or for any day really. So how many different jobs did you have in the field of work, and what are they? Jobs. Okay, so that's a good question. So there's a lot of opportunities in welding. You can weld for aircraft repair. You can weld for aircraft building, ship repair, ship building, maintenance. If you are a little bit mechanically inclined, but you're also a welder, like I was, that's how I got my first maintenance job, because they're always in need of welders. Not everybody's a welder, so I had a mechanical background from being in the Army. I worked on helicopters in the Army. So when I went and applied for a position with a company called Lamb Weston, which makes French fries, you probably have eaten some of their French fries over the years at restaurants. They typically do Red Robin.